Hello everyone, how's everyone doing? You guys doing good too? I'm doing good too. Let's get into today's video session. Here we go. Welcome back. Welcome back to my video session. Yeah, welcome back to my video session today. Rock Ramud as always on my video channel. How you guys doing today? Hope you guys doing fine today. So let's get on today's video session. We are back on Fujitsu Stylistic Q704 tablet. This time we're going to be talking about the CPU inside this system. Yeah, the CPU. Why is it so important to have a CPU in a computer in terms of like i3, i5, i7 cores? Yeah, okay. Literally, the i3 on its own is a dual core processor. Okay, a dual core processor aren't that great. They were good in the times of Intel Core 2 Duo. Do you remember them? They were dual core processors. But a lot of the times, like in today's date, we need more than dual core in it. Sometimes dual core is not enough. Because if we got Intel Core 2 Duo, then we got Intel i3 Core. What is the difference? To be honest, the difference is the i3 core has a higher clock speeds. Definitely, it will do most majority of your tasks pretty fast, especially for working, because this is an entry i3 CPU. Is mainly to do your work, isn't it, and typing and all that. It's about basically your work. I wouldn't really uh, do gaming with this thing because this CPU was never meant to do stuff like that. It was just meant to do some of your basic tasks for your work. Okay, it was actually just made for that. Do not try to push this CPU too much. You still can do gaming on it, but nobody is going to recommend that for that. Yeah, because in my previous video, we were talking about the GPU, Intel HD 4400. In Intel i3 core, you always gonna get Intel HD 4400. You're gonna get that with it. Yeah, as I said, the Intel HD 4400 is pretty good. Yeah, I don't know what a lot of these articles and videos are talking about. You can't just play some games and just say it's no good. No, it doesn't work like that. You should see if the Intel HD 4400 can play most majority of games. It actually can. It's very surprising. Trust me. If you're a guy who don't care about GPUs and the high end performances and all that, this Intel HD 4400 is absolutely amazing. It's absolutely amazing. Especially if you're really into integrated GPUs. I don't really think you should get another one really. Because the Intel HD 4400 It's pretty good. It's good enough. If you want to go beyond Intel HD 4400, as I said in my previous video, then you should go for video cards. Stop buying integrated GPUs. They aren't that good. The Intel HD 4400, in my opinion, is good enough. You don't need to go higher than this. You're going too much into these GPUs, bro. I know Intel introduced that new one. I think it was what was that Intel 940 graphics, something like that. Yeah, but still, it's just an integrated GPU. It doesn't matter what it does in it. You shouldn't really bother with them, really, unless Intel take parts in video cards. Then we'll think that Intel is doing something really huge. But right now, Intel going for integrated GPUs. As up to the company, they're always gonna release these integrated GPUs because whenever they release a CPU, they're always gonna have an integrated CPU. Okay, it's always been like that. That's how they do things. That's entirely up to the company. But it's up to the person or customer or consumer to see, should we really be going for integrated GPUs every time? Well, Intel HD 100 plays a lot of games. Later in my videos, I'm going to be telling you what kind of games I've played and tested. Trust me, a lot of them work on it. I was so surprised. Some of them didn't work. They were asking for some specific DLL files. We're going to go that in a separate video where we're going to be talking about these games which have actually worked on it. So anyway, this CPU on the Fujitsu Stylistics Q704 tablet it comes in 3 types of cores, isn't it? i3, i5, i7. If you feel that dual core is good enough for your work, then go for Intel i3 core. Now let's go into Intel i5 and i7 core. So what's so different about these then? If the Intel i3 cores is entry level, i5, i7 isn't. i5 is like mainstream, i7 is more extreme. Alright? The i5, i7 are similar if you look at each other. In this kind of thing, I'm going to tell you. They have both the dual core and quad core processors, man. Yeah, it doesn't just have a dual core in there. It's got a quad core in there. Okay. Now the quad core, right, is better than dual core. It's a lot better. Quad core can handle a lot of tasks. All right. But the thing about i5-7 is they have both. They could do the dual core and the quad core. They could do both. But with quad core, you get to do more. All right. But why it's so special about them? For the i5-i7 core. The i5-i7 have better clock speeds than the i3 core. Yeah, they do. Okay. The difference between i5, i7, they have their own clock speeds. All right. The i5 does have quite good clock speeds, but the i7 will have even higher ones. For example, in Intel i5 core, you might have 4.0 GHz, and in Intel i7 core, you might end up having 4.7 or 5.0. Yeah, there's a clock speed difference. Does the clock speed do anything? Yes, it does. Clock speeds makes things faster. Yeah. The faster the clock speed, this is what you need to understand. The faster the clock speed, the faster your CPU is. Okay? As I already told you, the Intel i5 core is a mainstream CPU. The i5 core is. A lot of the IT industries use that because they arrive with it. They definitely want to use i3 core. If they will get to a really extreme level, then they will use an Intel i7 core. But they don't need to use it if their work is not to extreme levels. A lot of the time, even in the studies and in the work field, Intel i5 core in the IT industry is very good, and it does a good job of it. Clock speeds, the faster the clock speed, the faster it's gonna handle the tasks. Okay, it's gonna do them really quickly. But the applications are not handled by the CPU. It's the full system resource speed. That's what it does. And I didn't tell you one thing. It's for multitasking, man. Yeah, these cores do these kind of things. Okay? The more cores are in there, the more tasks it will able to handle. It works like that. So it does these kind of things of that nature. The CPU, try to understand how it works. If you're a person who needs more clock speeds to have greater speed to handle the tasks faster, and you need to do lot of work at once. Let's get to this multitasking. Multitasking means you're doing a lot of work on one screen. All right. It can be things like you open Microsoft Word for typing. Okay. You got YouTube for video streaming. Okay. And maybe the other one you'll be probably doing something like printing. You know, printing. All sorts of things that you were doing. Opening the screens. It can handle so much. You probably can handle 7, 8 tasks with quad core. One screen, man. If you can see them. Go the little screens in it. It's great. It can handle so many tasks on one screen. Even the fourth screen can make your gaming. Probably in non-HD or 720p HD. You probably be on the fourth screen. Multitasking. That's what it does. The CPU, it does all that. You can even do this, the same thing with your Fujitsu Stylistics Q704 tablet. You will able to handle many tasks on one screen. We know it's a 12.5-inch screen size, which is a pretty good screen size. You will able to do multitasking on that as well. So if that screen's big enough, you could do it on that as well. Or you could connect external monitor to do all that. So already Fujitsu has given you manufacturer description saying that this is a high performance device. It actually is. It will do a good job if you own an Intel i5 core device. And there is another one which is hard to get, which is an Intel i7 core. You can get that device, which is even a better performer. But a lot of people bought the Intel i5 core. Intel i5 cores, good enough. It's a pretty good processor. I highly recommend it for a lot of workers and all that. And also the i5, i7 core were made for CPU for gaming as well. This literally CPU is made for that. It's for gaming, definitely. You could game on this thing. Obviously, you could game on i3 core. Well, I know it's not that CPU is not for gaming, but still you can. It does a great job of it. But the faster CPU you have, the greater the higher performance, high performance you will get at your work and gaming. And for your gaming, it will increase the speed. You will get a better speeds out of it and benchmarks. You will get that out of it. To get greater benchmarks, we will cover this a bit more in our next video. But a CPU, a higher CPU is needed to give you high performance. Yeah, you need that first. And then the secondly comes your integrated GPU. That comes at second place. And of course, there's three things to this really: CPU, RAM, and GPU. They're all needed in this process. In my next video, I will be telling you why is RAM needed for the CPU and GPU. When the CPU is already a amazing part to a computer, it actually is. What I just told you, the CPU does all that. It will do that in a tablet, laptop, and desktop PC. Now you fully understand how the whole system works for a CPU. Okay, so I hope you guys understand it, everything what I'm saying here. A CPU is well needed. In my next video, we will cover why would you need more RAM and what does it do. That will be done in my next video. And does it help the CPU and the GPU in any way in terms of benchmarks and all that? So we will cover that in our next video. So I hope today's video session has told you a lot how CPUs work. Having a better CPU, it always helps really. So there you have it. Give your likes, comment, subscribe. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.